The Count's Kustoms boss harbored secret animosities toward other supervisors. There was constant conflict between these employees and Kevin Mack, who never agreed with them. Kevin had a reputation for being cool. He didn't intend to cause problems, but he kept being sucked into it, which occasionally resulted in furious altercations. Was this the cause of the abrupt departure of the counting cars staff? Together, let's discover this secret. Scott Jones. Due to a deadline for restoring cars for celebrities, Count's Kustoms were unable to make mistakes. These types of errors were extremely costly to the business. That's why Danny Koker hired Kevin. He ensured that the work was done correctly and kept everyone alert. This was not a simple part for him. He frequently got into trouble with some of the employees. Kevin didn't actually get along with members of the cast, despite what some people believed. I refer to them as the neoclassics. On the left is a Mercury Cooper. All right, the appropriate one. Hey, what are you asking? I believe that individual to be Spartan. Oh no. Working tirelessly behind the scenes to maintain the company's reputation was the most difficult thing for them to do. Due to incorrect information and delayed deliveries, a rift developed between Kevin and certain employees. What were the implications of this? Were some workers let go? How far would Kevin go to eliminate the people he detested? Since his time on Counting Cars, Scott Jones has been adored by the public. He was one of the fascinating individuals. He oversaw and maintained the books. He would assist in the shop, they knew, before making rash financial decisions, particularly when they involved agreements and assumptions. He always had Danny and Kevin wait. He kept the crew alert by constantly reminding them of deadlines. There was never a depressing moment when Scott was on camera. He contributed anything new to the show while he was there. It also meant that when he left the show, people immediately noticed. I was devastated by his disappearance. His humor made him the ideal candidate for the position, as Counting Cars was poised to become one of the most popular car-related reality shows. After the second season, no one anticipated his departure. Everyone was taken aback. Scott and the auto shop didn't get back to you. His disappearance went unnoticed until supporters brought it up. He was booted off the show because many people began to believe that he had messed up the money. Fans believed Scott left the show for a reason, even though he was not facing any charges. He couldn't simply walk out without arguing with the company. Count's Kustoms' close acquaintances claimed that after relocating to Tennessee to be nearer to his family, he got into arguments with Kevin Mack. He was approaching his goal of opening an auto shop incorrectly. He had requested immediate release from his employment with the corporation. He hadn't quit or given Kevin and Danny time to find someone else to perform the work before he requested. Scott was adamant, despite Kevin's attempts to explain why he couldn't just leave whenever he wanted. He couldn't change his mind once he made up his mind. They treated Scott more like family than like a worker, which made Kevin very unhappy. He couldn't figure out why Scott was so determined to go. In addition to working in the car business, he played a significant role in the television program. Being a popular favorite, Kevin was aware that his departure would lower the show's ratings. However, he was powerless to influence Scott's decision. He repeatedly attempted to speak with Scott, but they got into noisy arguments that made it obvious they were not on the same page. They continued about their work because they didn't think anything was amiss, but also because they didn't want to disturb Scott. Their long-term relationship ended as a result of the back-and-forth arguments caused by Kevin and Scott's issues. Joseph Fronta, who worked behind the camera on the popular car repair show, kept dark truths from the audience. During its run, the television program Counting Cars introduced viewers to the world of vintage automobiles. It demonstrated to them what they could create out of trash and how to adorn the cars with artwork. It wasn't the complete tale, though. It was not all sunshine and roses in the spotlight. The audience was unable to see several things. There were tense arguments, treacheries, and financial issues when the cameras weren't there. At the car shop, there was fierce competition, and some employees were trying to harm clients. Although Danny Koker, the business owner, had a fantastic strategy for counting cars and a track record of completing tasks, not everyone was as thrilled. Many were envious of him and aspired to achieve his level of success. His employee Kevin couldn't allow that to occur. Additionally, Kevin disliked hearing Joseph Fronta's name. Because of the Joseph story, a large number of viewers are familiar with this topic. Joseph's theft accusations made headlines in 2016. Few people were aware of the chaotic activities occurring behind the scenes. In order to prevent the issue from becoming public knowledge, people typically attempt to resolve their disagreements in private. However, Kustoms were unable to conceal the reality. Inquisitive people researched the automobile industry after hearing about it in the news. Despite Kevin's best efforts, the problem proved to be more significant than he had anticipated. It quickly gained popularity on blogs and news programs. On the reality TV show, Joseph, a shop secretary, was typically quiet and collected. Although he appeared composed, nobody was aware of his sinister and insane thoughts. Joseph understood the importance of overseeing the finances of Kustoms. He was responsible for paying employees and monitoring high expenses. He took use of his ability to access the accounts and negotiate with wealthy clientele. He signed checks made out to Danny and Kevin. What did he do with some of the cash? He purchased items for his vehicle and airline tickets that the company did not cover. He was found to have falsified financial statements and made a down payment on a Range Rover. After learning that he had embezzled $75,000 from a business, Kevin was among those who made the decision to terminate him. Kevin has a reputation for being straightforward and frugal with his finances. The crime shouldn't have been kept a secret. Joseph was having serious problems. He had to repair the harm done to the company's reputation. He took a lot of money, so they sued him. When he appeared in court, many people believed he would be apprehended or imprisoned. However, Joseph did not end up in jail. Instead, he was accused of a crime. It never seemed like a sufficient method of reprimanding Joseph to Kevin. The fact that the judge did not put him in jail infuriated him. Kevin sued Randstad USA for concealing Joseph's history of deception at a Florida business where he was employed. However, it found out that Randstad had explicitly stated in writing that Joseph would not be given any cash tasks. This indicated that Kustoms did not make thorough hiring decisions. If Kevin had wanted to, he could have argued the case in court for a long time. Working with staffing firms became extremely difficult once Randstad abandoned the case after discovering a clause that protected them. Kevin thoroughly reviewed applications before recruiting new employees at Kustoms. Joseph violated the company's values in addition to lying to Kustoms. It was more than simply the money. The business had been retaining its clientele for years. For Danny Koker, Kevin always kept the shed clean and in good condition. He also hoped that the remaining employees would contribute to the company's progress. Kevin was determined to hold Fronta accountable for his actions because of this. By erasing counting cars records, he made it very evident to other employees that they were trying to steal from the business. Kevin realized that affluent people were the shop's primary clientele. If someone else at work did something similar to what Joseph did, they would face consequences. It would cause counting cars to lose business and damage their reputation. The company's finances were strained as a result of the scam, as it owed the IRS $18,000 in overdue taxes. He didn't want to, but Kevin might be capable of repairing this kind of harm. He swore he would never do the same thing again after Joseph's experience. The next employee Kevin lists will surprise you. He was one of the kindest guys on counting cars. Therefore, it was unexpected to find his name on the block list. He had an excellent friendship with Kevin. Fans watched as they became closer over the course of several seasons. What transpired between the pals? Let's investigate. Rolly, Helene. After a few seasons of the show's first season, one face disappeared. Rolly, Helene. It was entertaining to see, and he was adored by many. However, Rolly left counting cars after season 6. At Kustoms, fans began to question the authenticity of their on-screen unity. Fans began to question the authenticity of their on-screen unity at Kustoms. Because so many people enjoyed the show, it was easy for critics to propagate misinformation. According to others, the relationships among the group members were not genuine. According to some, it was merely a review screen. Some viewers recalled how tense Rolly and Kevin were with one another in Season 5 of Counting Cars during the rumors. Rolly's large ambitions and Kevin's goals didn't always align, despite their good relationship. That could be the reason he left the show. It was later discovered that Rowley had been the victim of theft. From his trailer, they took several cleaning supplies and large sums of money. Rowley was broken by the abrupt incident. He reported the theft to someone, but his money was never given back. Did he believe someone from the car shop was to fault? Or did he have a problem with the crew? He certainly did. He shared his thoughts with Kevin and even mentioned a potential suspect. Kevin advised Rowley to hold off on making snap judgments and to wait for a thorough investigation. This response didn't sit well with Rowley, who anticipated Kevin would support him and confront the offender. He didn't like what transpired, so he left the show. He stood up and moved across the room. After splitting with Kevin, he opened his own Las Vegas company, Rock and Rowley Detailing. Kevin once got into a heated argument with the Counting Cars directors over how to present specific episodes behind the scenes. For Counting Cars, he was in charge of Kustoms, but the production felt that he was going above and beyond the call of duty. They were unwilling to listen to Kevin's advice or obey his instructions. His point of view made sense, even though they might have felt he was overly committed to his work. Kevin saw that the show's intended theme had been altered by the directors. According to him, they received more photos of the mechanics than the vehicles. Kevin wanted them to concentrate on the show's principal idea rather than on other background activities. Viewers found the daily conversations between the staff members to be fascinating, but Kevin was aware that the show was gradually drifting away from the most significant aspects of life. The workers weren't the only focus. The exhibition continued for so long because of the magic that occurred with the cars. The show's initial focus was primarily on the store owner and the cars. Later on, however, the producers made the decision to reveal fans the lives of the other cast members. There was never any doubt as to how far they were prepared to go. This disagreement infuriated Kevin and the other crew members. Because it was all done behind the scenes, the viewers were unaware of it. However, they observed an oddity. In 2020, fans were perplexed when Kevin disappeared for an extended period of time. Fans quickly realized it was a significant matter, even though it initially appeared like a few episodes were missing. Some speculated that he might have departed from the show. Because the History Channel said nothing about it, fans lost faith in them. Some claimed that Kevin was fired because he battled with the filmmakers, while others claimed that he left the show because he didn't want to be on the written show. The show was reportedly coming to an end a few months later. Despite the show's outstanding ratings, fans were worried the new season would not air. History released a statement to soothe the ecstatic supporters. They discussed how the engines and final touches on custom automobiles take longer to complete and how the display was different. Additionally, it was reported that Kevin would be appearing in the episode and was back on the squad. When Kevin returned, he did not speak to the directors of the show. He just returned because he liked working with Danny. How you get to know Danny Koker and join Counting Cars. Apart from fixing ancient cars, what else does he do? Let's enter Kevin's universe. There are how many cars? Have you ever envisioned turning an old, rusty car into something brand new, swift, and shiny? Every day, Kustoms restores abandoned vehicles with love, care, and expertise. For auto enthusiasts, it's like a trip back in time and a dream come true. Counting Cars works on creating new models of vintage automobiles. There's more to the exhibition than just automobiles. It's about history, love, and being given another chance. Every vehicle that a client brings into the shop is different. Many people are unaware of the lovely backstory behind it. Those stories are of interest to the team. In addition to fixing automobiles, Kustoms also fixes memories. Making something beautiful out of something damaged is exciting. Every job is a brand new journey filled with obstacles and surprises. The performance is set in a shed in the famous city of Las Vegas. Danny Koker is the company's spokesperson. He started the company because he had a passion for vintage automobiles and motorcycles. He enjoys negotiating and generating fresh concepts. Fortunately, there is someone in charge of maintaining order behind the scenes. Behind all the commotion of the engines and tools, you may not immediately recognize the man. Kevin is his name. Although he is Danny's right-hand guy and best buddy, Kevin is more than just a helper. The store is run by him. He arranges everything. Danny spends his time meeting new customers or following automobiles on the street. Kevin is back at the store, ensuring that the money stays in order, the work is completed, and the deadlines are met. Kevin keeps to himself. He's not ostentatious. But without him, the show might not function. When they're finished, he is the one who revs the engines or paints the flames on the hoods. Kevin ensures that the squad has everything they need to continue. In the midst of turmoil, he is the voice of reason. The individual accounts customs who monitors business transactions and ensures the company fulfills its commitments. Who is Kevin Mack? What history does he have? What sparked Kevin's interest in vintage automobiles? To properly comprehend Kevin's employment, let's take a look at his history, his path, and his motivation for working accounts customs. Background: Kevin Mack was not exposed to automobiles as a child. He didn't come from a long line of grease-splattered heroes or mechanics. His childhood appeared to be just another one from the outside. The United States is where Kevin was born. He was not born in a posh city or area. Rather, he was born in a peaceful street where people waved to one another and children rode bikes on the pathways. He had a tiny, close-knit family. To care for him and his brothers, his parents put in a lot of effort. Although he didn't make vehicles, his father understood the value of hard effort. The most significant member of the family was his mother, who was always willing to lend a hand and listen. As a child, Kevin learned how to remain composed and handle situations without losing his temper. He never started a fight and always made an effort to maintain harmony. Kevin never stopped trying to keep his buddies safe. He was cautious, while others plunged right in. Adventures were his favorite. Everyone knew Kevin loved trains from an early age. His bike was red with silver handles, and he loved it. He took wonderful care of it, treating it as though it were a prize. The chain was examined to ensure it was in good condition, and the tires were examined. With each ride, he cleaned it. His passion for wheels began there. In high school, Kevin didn't aim to be well-known. He was reliable even if he wasn't the best football player. His professors liked him because he was composed. Because he kept secrets and never failed them, his friends trusted him. After school, Kevin obtained occupations that broadened his knowledge of the globe. His ability to manage people, money, and time would be useful in the future. He pursued his lofty goals and attended college slowly. Instead, he worked in local stores and gradually discovered his interests. At one point, life brought Kevin to Las Vegas. It's a bright, noisy, and always bustling area. It was simple to get sucked into life in such a bustling metropolis. Kevin, however, remained loyal to himself. He remained focused until an opportunity presented itself. At that point, he contacted Danny Koker once more. They had previously met and remained in contact after their paths crossed. But now things were different. Danny needed a trustworthy person who could manage the turmoil if he was going to do something significant with Counts Customs. Kevin was a fantastic fit. The attention wasn't necessary for him. All he needed was a location to demonstrate his automotive expertise. The fact that his voice was the loudest in the room didn't bother him. He was concerned about order. He liked orderly situations, such as when people fulfilled their commitments and plans came together. Before joining the Counts Customs, Kevin assisted others in completing their work more effectively. Many of his pals approached him with issues. Despite his ignorance, he always maintained his composure when things went wrong. If someone was struggling with the details or in a rush to finish a task, Kevin would discreetly step in, identify the issue, and assist them in solving it. He never requested gratitude. All he wanted was to solve the problem. Kevin was always aware of time, not simply the ticking of clock, but also the passage of time in the workplace. He was aware that every minute mattered and had the power to change everything. That might not seem like much, but it reveals his thought process. Every move and every second has a purpose. Many people know Dan as the musician. Kevin, however, has never attempted to make music his career despite his love for it. He enjoyed the beat of music. Like the shops he used to work in, it required time, balance, and teamwork. Some believe that's what strengthened his relationship with Danny Koker. Despite not playing on stage, Kevin was aware of Danny's musical history. For Kevin Mack, his position at Counts Customs was more than simply a job. In many respects, it was a calling, a commitment, and a duty. Kevin ensured that the outrageous bespoke motorcycles designed by Danny Koker could be constructed on schedule and within budget. Every day, he was in charge of managing the store. He organized tasks, monitored expenses, and ensured that employees got the supplies they required. Kevin also took on challenging assignments. He resolved difficulties before they worsened and became significant ones. He was not merely a supervisor. He was responsible for maintaining order, resolving conflicts, and being a silent boss. Kevin never did anything out of character and was always composed. He refrained from shouting at employees who failed to perform their duties. Every action he took was considered. When he felt it was necessary, he asked inquiries. Kevin was aware of who to call and when to do so. He was used by the Kustoms because he was skilled at fixing things. At home, Kevin remained the same solid individual. He doesn't talk to anyone. His family is not well recognized. His wife supports him through difficult times, and his children look up to him. He loves his family just as much as he loves engines. He managed to fit in calm evenings in the backyard, school functions, and dinner at home while working on county cars. His children watched him on television as a devoted father who was always there and a mechanic. When he was on camera, he remained the same. Many of his admirers noticed that he looked exactly like he did on television. Kevin said it like it was. People could relate to him since he never made an effort to be someone he wasn't. The reason he was so popular was because he was honest. Because he is aware of the risks involved in appearing on a show like County Cars, he prefers to keep his family out of the spotlight. He avoids the limelight and lets his art do the talking. Although Kevin didn't discuss his family background much, those who knew him well claimed that he always respected it. He recalled the lessons his parents had taught him and spoke well of them. He wasn't brilliant at business, but his mother taught him patience and his father taught him honesty. Because those two characteristics shaped who he was, people adored him. He also believed that growth should be gradual. Kevin was slow. While some people moved about a lot or changed jobs frequently, he thought that learning and development were important processes. When Danny eventually joined, he assisted Danny in growing the company and took care of Kustoms. Additionally, Kevin expanded the shop's customer base. Without calling attention to himself, he worked on local initiatives, neighborhood gatherings, and charitable endeavors. People who worked on the show had nothing but positive things to say about him, even though these segments weren't always on screen. He had no desire to be well known. His goal was to create something durable. Kevin was recognized by his diligence by Kustoms. He started to play a significant role in the company. His assistance keeps the business open. His achievements don't qualify as medals. Magazine covers don't feature them. They have completed cars that satisfy customers and are in shops that function like well-oiled machines. Despite not being the face of County Cars, Kevin Mack plays a significant role in the program. Another indicator of his accomplishment is the trust he earned. Everyone on the team looks up to him, and his colleagues rely on him. Fans of Kevin are eager to see him each week as well.